Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Legal Anchor. Today we'll be discussing carriage of goods by sea law. Under carriage of goods by sea law, we know that the first thing you have to do is build a contract. Now, when you're shipping items by sea, this contract is made. This contract has all of the details that are needed for shipping the goods by sea. So, we build our contract and we have, as you know, the terms in there. Not only will these terms guide everybody, but they create obligations. Today we'll be talking about the carrier's rights and obligations. These obligations are named in the contract. And we see that at common law, the common law automatically imposes certain obligations. If these obligations are breached, then we now know that this contract has been breached and you may be able to claim for damages and even rescind the contract if it goes to the root of this breach. So, now we know that there's a breach. How do we decipher whether a breach has occurred or not? So, this breach, we now need to ensure that we have everything known as to whether it is a breach or not. How do we decipher this? By knowing the carrier's rights, obligations, and defenses. The carrier's rights and obligations are named in the contract. However, in building a contract, we are human and we know things can be left out by us lawyers. So, if it is left out by us lawyers, luckily the common law is there that reads into the contract in the event that you forget something. So, for example, seaworthiness is one of the major things that should be in the contract. However, if the lawyer omits to put that the ship shall be seaworthy in the contract, it will be read into the contract by virtue of the common law. Loading and stowing, all of these things, move with reasonable dispatch, deviation, all of these things the common law speaks to. But the prudent lawyer will go a step further. The prudent lawyer will put in the contract rules. Now, we see that the international community, in a desperate attempt to ensure that the contract is drafted in a way that it now promotes all to know their rights and obligations, we see that various rules were created from as far back as 1923, when we see the creation of the Hague Rules. The Hague Rules came about to try and give carriers and shippers for them to know their rights and obligations. Now, we see that the Hague Rules came about first, then they were revised with the Hague Rules, and then we had a further revising again where we saw the Rotterdam Rules and then the Hamburg Rules. All of these rules speak to how goods are to be carried by sea. Each one has specific articles and sections in them that now make the carrier know what is expected of them. This is of vital importance in the shipping of goods by sea, that persons know what is expected of them. So now we know that there are various rules that can be applied. How do you get it into the contract? Now you already have the contract written. You're going to place in your contract, this contract will be done under the Hague, Visby, Rotterdam or Hamburg Rules. These rules now, we understand, are very important because they make persons who are shipping things know where they stand. For example, the Hamburg Rules can be used when you're shipping livestock. When somebody's shipping livestock, how do they know what they must do? There are lots of things that can go wrong. Suppose the animal dies. How do we ensure adequate ventilation? All of these things the article speaks to in Hamburg. So we see that Hamburg Rules are vitally important, especially if you're shipping livestock. Now, each of these articles are different, and as such, they impose different obligations depending on which one you apply. So, now we have an understanding of these rules. We realize that shipping goods by sea is something that is a very intricate contract, and we know that we have these aids to help us in ensuring that these items that are being shipped in a way that is upholding international standards that persons have adhered to over the years. So, with that said, I'm glad you now have an understanding of maritime law and carriage of goods by sea law. We're here beautiful Helsha in the Sunshine City of Portmore, and we're enjoying the environment. Way out in the distance, you can see, I don't know if your camera can pick it up, but way out in the distance, there are ships there. Now these ships, same way, would be following all of these rules that have been laid down. One of the ships that are extremely far out, a white one, don't know if the camera can pick it up, it's a row ship, meaning that it rolls on, rolls off. So, with that said, we now know that these ships will be coming here under a contract. Bill of lading comes with it. But in drafting the contract, we now understand that various terms are inserted, and these rules help us in drafting these terms. Thank you for your attention. Welcome to an exciting episode of the Legal Anchor. Today we're here in the Sunshine City of Portmore, and I came by my favorite restaurant here at Helsha Beach, and I ran into this young lady. I just heard somebody say, "Mr. Reed," and I was thinking, who know me here? And all of a sudden, this young lady came over to me and said, "Mr. Reed, you lecture me maritime law. You lecture me, I need to pause." So, this young lady saw me, and I just heard somebody say, "Mr. Reed, Mr. Reed." When I looked over, she said to me, "Mr. Reed, you lecture me carriage of goods by sea law." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "Yes, I'm in your class. My Wednesday class, I believe it is. She's in." So, here I am. Turns out I'm at her mother's restaurant. I know her mother quite well. I come here and support them all the time, and I have a pleasure to run into my student here. So, what's your name?
I am
Kristen Thompson is her name. And Kristen, so you've been doing maritime carriage of goods by sea law now for a term. You understand that, of course, it's heavily contract law based, and with it being heavily contract law based, you know a contract is a legally binding document between two or more persons, and that this definition was given to us by Lord Diplock. Now, in having this definition and knowing that maritime law and carriage of goods by sea in specific is a very intricate and detailed contract, what I want to understand from you is, how have you found the course? Have you, in terms of especially your assignment, you just had an assignment that I'm sure you found quite easy. It was easy, right?
It was challenging.
It was challenging. I agree with you, it was a challenging assignment. But what did you find so challenging about it?
Well, at first, I did not know there are certain rules that govern things, goods, to be traveled in and out one's country, and I didn't know that the seafarers, they have certain laws that protect them.
Yes.
And protect persons' cargo as well. And doing this assignment, I gained a lot of knowledge on the sea itself and how goods are being transported daily and how one is being protected in terms of a contract, a legal binding document, and how that person can benefit so much from all of it.
Okay, so in doing this now, you understood that maritime law is very intricate and it's very important to everything that we need in our legal sphere. So we see now that it is quite important to what we need in the legal sphere. So as it relates to having everything, you now know all of those details as it relates to carriage of goods by sea law. At this moment, we're going to take a pause. So, you understand in terms of carriage of goods by sea law that the Maritime Labour Convention and also the shipping of goods are all important. So in doing the assignment, the Hague Rules, the Hamburg Rules, the Rotterdam Rules, the Hague Rules, did any of them speak to you? Was there anything in any of them that you found interesting, important? Because funny enough, that's what I'm doing the video here on today.
Well, I can say that the rules are very similar.
Exactly.
They are very similar, and you have to get a great understanding of them and what they interpret differently, what you interpret from them, and try your best to just.
Okay, good. Very good. Excellent. So what she's saying now is that she realizes how similar the rules are, and she's not wrong. The rules are strikingly similar, but there's some slight differentiations as it depends on the type of cargo in which you're shipping. If you're shipping dangerous cargo, a particular rule will apply for that. If you're doing live animals, that rule will apply for that. If you're doing frozen foods, a rule can apply for that. So she relax now.
Speaking of the live animals, you asked a question last class talking about the race that took place in London.
Yes.
I was the one who answered that question.
Okay, you were the one that answered that question.
And I was talking about that. You asked a question about what would one person, a carrier would possess to a shipper, some things that are very important in carrying a live animal. And I said that, well, the carrier will definitely have to supply that ship in order to bring that specific cargo in terms of providing the right equipment, the right tools to bring a live animal.
Exactly.
And because if that horse should be damaged in any type of way, it will be a lot of money, because to go to that, I don't remember, what was the name of the race?
We were talking about coming from the horse was coming from the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, for a horse supposed to be at the Kentucky Derby, it must value a lot.
Yes.
And we were talking about that.
Exactly. And if I remember correctly, you also mentioned seaworthiness.
Yes.
And we see that seaworthiness is something that's of vital importance. Seaworthiness is found both in common law and even in all of the rules. They speak to the ship being seaworthy, and that's of vital importance in the marine industry, that the ship must be seaworthy. And we said that must not only just be seaworthy in terms of mechanically seaworthy, but also worthy to carry the goods to which a shipper has undertaken to carry, because he may find that his ship is in breach and his ship may not be seaworthy or may not be cargo worthy. And we had a detailed discussion on seaworthiness and cargo worthiness, and as to how the ship can be seaworthy or how the ship can be cargo worthy, to ensure goods being transported by sea are being done in a way that promotes uniformity and give the parties an equal standing to understand where the goods are and how they are to be transported every step of the way. So this rules just adds a little bit more to ensuring that parties are on a level footing, a level playing field as to what is expected of them. So I'm glad I ran into you today. I'm glad you understand and you've been understanding the course over the term. And I thank you for your participation in my class. And I thank you for participating in my YouTube video today. And I look forward to great things from you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.